Ravenna by Oscar Wilde. A year ago I breathed the Italian air, and yet methinks this northern spring is fair. These fields made golden with the flower of March, the throstles singing on the feathered larch, the cawing rooks, the wood doves fluttering by, the little clouds that race across the sky, and fair the violet's gentle drooping head, the primrose, pale for love and comforted, the rose that burgeons on the climbing briar, the crocus bed that seems a moon of fire, round girdled with a purple marriage ring. And all the flowers of our English spring, fond snowdrops and the bright starred daffodil, up starts the lark beside the murmuring mill, and breaks the gossamer threads of early dew. And down the river, like a flame of blue, keen as an arrow flies the water king, while the brown linnets in the greenwood sing. A year ago! It seems a little time since last I saw that lordly southern clime, where flower and fruit to purple radiance blow, and like bright lamps that fabled apples grow. Full spring it was, and by rich flowering vines, dark olive groves and noble forest pines, I rode at will. The moist glad air was sweet, the white road rang beneath my horse's feet, and musing on Ravenna's ancient name, I watched the day till, marked with wounds of flame, the turquoise sky to burnished gold was turned. Oh, how my heart with boyish passion burned, when far away across the sedge and mere I saw that holy city rising clear, crowned with her crown of towers. On and on I galloped, racing with the setting sun, and ere the crimson afterglow was past, I stood within Ravenna's walls at last. How strangely still! No sound of life or joy startles the air, no laughing shepherd boy pipes on his reed, nor ever through the day comes the glad sound of children at their play. Oh, sad and sweet and silent! Surely here a man might dwell apart from troublous fear, watching the tide of seasons as they flow from amorous spring to winter's rain and snow, and have no thoughts of sorrow. Here indeed are Lethe's waters, and that fatal weed which makes a man forget his fatherland. Ay, amid lotus meadows dost thou stand, like Proserpine with poppy-leaden head, guarding the holy ashes of the dead. For though thy brood of warrior sons hath ceased, thy noble dead are with thee. They at last are faithful to thine honour. Guard them well, O childless city, for a mighty spell to wake men's hearts to dreams of things sublime are the lone tombs where rest the greats of time. Yon lonely pillar, rising on the plain, marks where the bravest knight of France was slain, the prince of chivalry, the lord of war, Gaston de Foix. For some untimely star led him against the city, and he fell, as falls some forest lion fighting well. Taken from life where life and love were new, he lies beneath God's seamless veil of blue. Tall lance-like reeds wave sadly over his head, and oleanders bloom to deeper red, where his bright youth flowed crimson on the ground. Look farther north unto that broken mound. There, prisoned now within a lordly tomb, raised by a daughter's hand in lonely gloom, huge-limbed Theodoric, the Gothic king, sleeps after all his weary conquering. Time hath not spared his ruin, wind and rain hath broken down his strongholds, and again we see that death is mighty lord of all, and king and clown to ashen dust must fall. Mighty indeed their glory, yet to me barbaric king or knight of chivalry, or the great queen herself, were poor and vain, beside the grave where Dante rests from pain. His gilded shrine lies open to the air, and cunning sculptor's hands have carven there the calm white brow, as calm as the earliest morn, the eyes that flashed with passionate love and scorn, the lips that sang of heaven and of hell, the almond face which Giotto drew so well, the the weary face of Dante. To this day, here in this place of resting, far away from Arno's yellow waters, rushing down through the wide bridges of that fairy town, where the tall tower of Giotto seems to rise, a marble lily under sapphire skies. Alas, my Dante, thou hast known the pain of meaner lives, the exile's galling chain, how steep the stairs within kings' houses are, and all the petty miseries which mar man's nobler nature with the sense of wrong. Yet this dull world is grateful for thy song. Our nations do thee homage, even she, that cruel queen of vine-clad Tuscany, who bound with crown of thorns thy living brow, hath decked thine empty tomb with laurels now, and begs in vain the ashes of her son. O mightiest exile, all thy grief has done. Thy soul walks now beside thy Beatrice. Ravenna guards thine ashes. Sleep in peace. How lone this palace is, how grey the walls. No minstrel now wakes echoes in these halls. The broken chain lies rusting on the door, and noisome weeds have split the marble floor. Here lurks the snake, and here the lizards run, by the stone lions blinking in the sun. Byron dwelt here in love and revelry for 2 long years, a second Anthony, who of the world another Actium made, yet suffered not his royal soul to fade, or lyre to break, or lance to grow less keen, 'neath any wiles of an Egyptian queen. For from the east there came a mighty cry, and Greece stood up to fight for liberty, and called him from Ravenna. Never knight rode forth more nobly to wild scenes of fight. None fell more bravely on ensanguined field, borne like a Spartan back upon his shield. O Hellas, Hellas, in shine hour of pride, thy day of might remember him who died, to wrest from off thy limbs a trammelling chain. O Salamis, O lone Plataean plain, O tossing waves of wild Euboean sea, O wind-swept heights of lone Thermopylae, he loved you well, ay, not alone in word, who freely gave to thee his lyre and his sword, like Aeschylus at well-fought Marathon. And England too shall glory in her son, her warrior poet, first in song and fight. No longer now shall slander's venom spite crawl like a snake across his perfect name, or mar the lordly scutcheon of his fame. For as the olive garland of the race, which lights with joy each eager runner's face, as a red cross which saveth man in war, as a flame-bearded beacon seen from far, by mariners upon a storm-tossed sea, such was his love for Greece and liberty. Byron, thy crowns are ever fresh and green, red leaves of rose from Sapphic Mytilene shall bind thy brows, the myrtle blooms for thee in hidden glades by lonely Castaly. The laurels wait thy coming, all are thine, and round thy head one perfect wreath will twine. The pine tops rocked before the evening breeze, with the hoarse murmur of the wintry seas, and the tall stems were streaked with amber bright. I wandered through the wood in wild delight. Some startled bird with fluttering wings and fleet made snow of all the blossoms. At my feet, like silver crowns, what the pale narcissi lay, and small birds sang on every twining spray. O waving trees, O forest liberty, within your haunts at least a man is free, and half forgets the weary world of strife. The blood flows hotter, and a sense of life wakes in the quickening veins, while once again the woods are filled with gods we fancied slain. Long time I watched, and surely hoped to see some goat-foot Pan make merry minstrelsy amid the reeds, some startled dryad maid in girlish flight, or lurking in the glade, the soft brown limbs, the wanton treacherous face of woodland god, Queen Dian in the chase. white-limbed and terrible, with look of pride, and leash of boarhounds leaping at her side, or Hylas mirrored in the perfect stream. O idle heart, O fond Hellenic dream, ere long with melancholy rise and swell, the evening chimes, the convent's vesper bell, struck on my ears amid the amorous flowers. Alas, alas, these sweet and honeyed hours had whelmed my heart like some encroaching sea, and drowned all thoughts of black Gethsemane. O lone Ravenna, many a tale is told of thy great glories in the days of old. 2000 years have passed since thou didst see Caesar ride forth to royal victory. Mighty thy name when Rome's lean eagles flew from Britain's isles to far Euphrates blue, and of the peoples thou wast noble queen, till in thy streets a Goth and Hun were seen. Discrowned by man, deserted by the sea, thou sleepest, rocked in lonely misery. No longer now upon thy swelling tide, pine forest like, the myriad galleys ride. For where the brass-beaked ships were wont to float, the weary shepherd pipes his mournful note, and the white sheeps are free to come and go, where Adria's purple waters used to flow. O fair, O sad, O queen uncomforted, in ruined loveliness thou liest dead, alone of all thy sisters, for at last Italia's royal warrior hath passed Rome's lordliest entrance, and hath worn his crown in the high temples of the eternal town. The Palatine hath welcomed back her king, and with his name the 7 mountains ring. And Naples hath outlived her dream of pain, and mocks her tyrants. Venice lives again, new risen from the waters, and the cry of life and truth, of love and liberty, is heard in lordly Genoa, and where the marble spires of Milan wound the air, rings from the Alps to the Sicilian shore, and Dante's dream is now a dream no more. But thou, Ravenna, better loved than all, thy ruined palaces are but a pall that hides thy fallen greatness, and thy name burns like a grey and flickering candle flame beneath the noonday splendour of the sun of new Italia, for the night is done, the night of dark oppression, and the day hath dawned in passionate splendour. Far away the Austrian hounds are hunted from the land, beyond those ice-crowned citadels which stand girdling the plain of royal Lombardy, from the far west unto the eastern sea.